Fire them up. That's what we do at the Andrew Gosser Show. We fire them up right here on 1039 WYAB, where we are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. No one cares about Facebook, and we're streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal, then like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Tell everybody about WYB. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a liberal. Yep, let's do it. Let's grow this thing together. You can follow me on X. It's just at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser on X. That's where I'm going to post a lot of my stories that I get stuff from. And yep, if you want to be part of the program today, 601-879-0002. Text line is open at 601-879-5060. And today, ladies and gentlemen, it's a special day. It is July 2nd. And for you, we're called to freedom, brothers. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love to serve one another. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it. Let's do it. That, ladies and gentlemen, was our national anthem played last night, where the U.S. men's national team defeated Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0. Balogun did get a red card. It was a bummer, but we ended up winning. And that's going to kind of be the theme of today's show, just Americana in general. Now, for some other news, we got 6 days left before AI really digs its claws in. That's just my opinion. And West Texas crude is now at $67.50 per barrel. It's going to continue to drop as we continue to have make headway over in the Persian Gulf, Straits of Hormuz. And I know I haven't done a Founding Fathers Friday in a while, but with today being July 2nd, the day that right now the Continental Congress is getting together to start ratifying the Declaration of Independence, I thought we would go ahead and do another review of that popular founding father. You know him, you love him, you talked about him in your 7th grade history, U.S. history class. Brother Caesar Rodney. Caesar Rodney, ladies and gentlemen, you knew that one. Come on, we live in 2026, the age of information technology. We've got it all at our fingertips. Born in 1728, died in 1784. He was a prominent founding father from Delaware, whose life embodied dedication to public service and the American way, ladies and gentlemen. The American way. You know, doing something for your neighbor, not necessarily to aggrandize yourself, make yourself look good, just to do something for your neighbor because it's the right thing to do. Born on October 7th, 1728, he was born on a family plantation near Dover in Kent County. Rodney's family came from a well-established family. He had a little bit better upbringing than some of our other founding fathers, with roots tracing back to William Penn's era. He received the classical education in Philadelphia and entered public life early, serving as High Sheriff of Kent County, Justice of the Peace, and a member of the Delaware Assembly. During the French and Indian War, he rose to the rank of captain of the militia. So you can see that this guy, he had a good life. He was all about public service, whether he was the sheriff or serving in the militia, always aspiring to be something bigger than just himself. And isn't that what we want our kids to do today? We want them to be part of something bigger than just themselves. Isn't that what you aspire to be? Try to better yourself every day, whether that's reading a good book every morning before the sun comes up, whether that's going to colleges at or going to classes at Hines Community College in the evening. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. What are you doing to make yourself better? Rodney here is an excellent example. Brother Cesar Rodney's an excellent example. Rodney here, this is something that was kind of interesting to me. Rodney never married and had no children, devoting himself instead to agricultural pursuits on his plantation while steadily advancing in colonial politics, including as Speaker of the Assembly and delegate of the Continental Congress. Yep. And I'm getting this from ushistory.org, in case people want to know. Rodney's most enduring legacy stems from his dramatic actions on July 2nd, 1776. While serving as a delegate to the Second Continental Congress, he was in Dover, handling militia duties, when a deadlock arose in the Delaware delegation over voting for independence or remaining loyal to the Crown. Fellow delegate Thomas McKean urgently summoned him, despite suffering from asthma and advanced facial cancer. I didn't know that about Cesar Rodney when I was researching this. I didn't realize that we had people that were that ill, which he concealed with the silk scarf. Rodney rode approximately 80 miles through a thunderstorm, arriving at Independence Hall exhausted, but in time to cast the tie-breaking vote for independence. Would you ride 80 miles on horseback through thunderstorms for liberty that you might not never see? That generations henceforth might never know that you did? This is why U.S. history is so important, ladies and gentlemen. It's why it's important to take time to go search out these stories instead of what the latest TikTok dance fad is, what's trending on X, or the rot gut mind melding stuff that's on Facebook and Instagram. His decisive action helped secure unanimous colonial support for the Lee Resolution. Rodney later signed the Declaration of Independence and continued contributing to the revolutionary effort. Beyond that famous ride, Rodney played a vital role throughout the Revolutionary War and Delaware's early statehood. He arose to the rank of brigadier general. That's no small effort there. And later major general of the Delaware militia, organizing troops and supporting loyalist uprisings while supporting George Washington's campaigns. In 1778, he was elected the governor of Delaware. They called it the president of Delaware at the time, guiding the state through wartime challenges such as supplying the Continental Army. Rodney remained active in government and on the judiciary until his health failed. He died on June 26, 1784, at the age of just 55. Months later, the Treaty of Paris ended the war, and today's statues, schools, and landmarks honor him in Delaware as Delaware's quintessential patriot and quiet hero of American independence. Now, we basically spent 6 or 7 minutes talking about Cesar this morning. I often wonder, how much time do we spend as Americans focusing on bettering our neighborhood? How much time do I spend on bettering Terry, Mississippi, or Hines County, or Mississippi in general? How much time do I spend bettering my family life, my marriage, my interactions with my sons and daughter? You know, we are given this incredible gift in America to basically do whatever the heck we want to do. Thank you for the comments, Dogfish. I do look very patriotic today. I've got my red, white, and blue polo on, seeing as tomorrow we'll have a rerun. Don't want to hide that from anybody, never want to mislead anybody, but it's a 3-day weekend here at WYAB. But I want to say, what is it that we do to not just better ourselves, but better the people around us, better the community around us? Do we stir up strife or do we point out things that need to be fixed? Anybody can be an agitator. Agitation is easy. And I'm not saying this coming from a place that's high and mighty. I'm coming from this from a place where I've gone down that road. There are people who enjoy being on the side of the road just throwing snowballs at people who are trying to do a better job without ever offering any valid criticism or a different path forward. And when I look back at our founding fathers, it makes me smile to think about how these guys who didn't have the internet, who didn't have a typewriter, who didn't have all of the amenities, didn't have air conditioning, they came through and they did something that was so big, that was so monumental that 250 years later, we're celebrating it. What a legacy that is. What a legacy that is. And, I didn't even know about Rodney or Caesar Rodney this morning when I woke up until I have a daily reminder that tells me about important patriotic things, important American holidays, current events, historical events. And this popped up and I'm like, "Man, I need to talk about that today." So here's to Caesar Rodney riding 80 miles on horseback, fighting face cancer to cast that deciding vote for Delaware. There would still be other places that needed to cast that deciding vote. Good morning to everybody in the chat. There would be still other states that had to cast deciding votes. It wasn't as easy as just Caesar Rodney. I believe it was the state of New York that had a little bit of a hiccup before they could cast their vote. But it just goes to show you how the tenacity of God-fearing, strong-willed men following some and wanting to be part of something bigger than just themselves can accomplish great and monumentous things. And that's what we've got that opportunity here in the United States of America today. And while the World Cup's going on, the world is getting to see just how awesome America is. Through all of our warts, through all of our pimples, our scars, the hurt that's happened here. People are enjoying the United States. They are discovering this thing now that's going around called the Slurpee. Oh, 7-Eleven, Buc-ee's, Waffle House, air conditioning, unlimited refills on your drinks. People don't understand it. And sure, I've got plenty of clips of Europeans saying how their media lied to them about America. Sure, there's stories coming out on ground news today just bringing up MK Ultra. There are so many stories out there that we can go down the bad path, but we can go down the good path too. And I've decided to go down the good path, including that crazy German Freddy LA7, who amassed over 400,000 viewers in just 2 weeks on X, documenting all of the positive things in America that he was experiencing. Unfortunately, we lost Freddy LA7. And when we get back from this first commercial break, we're going to talk about it right here on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show on 1039 WYAB. Before we get into the Freddie LA7 story, I just have to comment on ABC News and what a bunch of losers those people are. Complaining about the fireworks display over in Washington, D.C. You know, I think the world would be a better place if we took all mainstream media and immediately cut them off. How they want to censor us, we just get rid of them. They can go out there and do what they want to do, and they can report on what they want to report of, but they do not deserve the platforms that they're on. Now, as a veteran who's been overseas, I will be nowhere near anybody's fireworks. I don't want anything to do with it. And every year that I've been on the radio, I always take a moment to thank my neighbors, Mike and John and Drew, for checking in on me and saying, hey, we're going to shoot off our fireworks. We're going to start in about an hour, and give me enough time to firmly hunker down so I don't have to deal with their howitzers going off. And I love a good air show. I love a good fireworks display. Those of you who know me know I got to witness the very best air show that there's ever been. It took place off the flight deck of the USS America. When fondly enough, we were off the coast of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And we brought out those silly little generals who thought that they were all bad and bold. And the USS America CV-66 and Carrier Air Wing 1 team put on an air show like no other, dropping all sorts of live ordnance, going ahead and doing supersonic flybys with the F-14B upgrade Tomcat, where you didn't need to remove the drop tanks like those puny little Hornets had to do. Just saying, Hornet guys. There's a reason we called you fighter attack guys. If you know, you know. But to sit there and get asthma alerts and all this other stuff, get out of here. This is America's 250th birthday, and it's time for us to celebrate it. And the world is celebrating it with us too. But unfortunately, and this is coming from Jackson Jambalaya, Brother Kingfish over there, he has a post entitled, Why We Can't Have Nice Things, reason number, fill in the blank. How about 753,464,233? And this is the biggest problem I have with the news media and the left. Some people just can't allow others to have a good time, Kingfish writes. You know the type. Always angry, always miserable, more likely to have green, purple, blue, yellow, orange hair, gauged out earrings, nose rings, facial tattoos. Yep, that's one of it. One of the unexpected treasures of the World Cup has been watching a German tourist named Freddie LA7 documenting his travels across America on X. Now, you never saw the face of Brother Freddie. He always had a picture of Cristiano Ronaldo over his face. But he was taking pictures, and he amassed, and I'm adding to Kingfish's story here, he had over 400,000 followers, of which 98%, 99% were all good, cheering him on, saying how they enjoyed it. Talking about just what a great time they were having in America. And they were here legally. Yes, let's say it just like President Trump says it, legally. It's been rather fun seeing America through the eyes of an outsider as Freddie and other Europeans, especially the English. Brother Freddie experienced a Bucky stop right here in Mississippi, dined in New Orleans, and was invited backstage to a Ella Langley concert. Chef Gordon Ramsay feted him at one of his restaurants. I think is what he was supposed to say there. Kingfish might be. If I'm reading it wrong, I apologize, but I think that might be a typo. Instead of taking the interstate, he traveled on state highways up north so he could see small towns, the real America, not the stuff that this mainstream media garbage tries to shove down our throats every day that we're bombarded upon. It's the evil of media, man. Honestly, that we're winning the war in Iran right now, but you wouldn't know it because of the mainstream media and their anonymous sources from inside the Pentagon and other places. Unfortunately for Freddie, he got too popular and was invited to the White House. And once you get that stamp of approval from Donald J. Trump, the Trumpster, yes, this is my autographed Trump hat, you know what the left was going to do. The left can't have victories. The left is nothing but death, decay, and moral decline. Oh, sure, they'll say the right things, but you can't name one successful communist country, one successful Marxist country, one successful socialist country. Can't name one. All they are is death. You know, this was brought up to me on a sidebar here. The court said the unborn didn't have value until it was an illegal immigrant. Then all of a sudden it counted. Those pregnant mamas all of a sudden counted. You notice that? This is Freddie LA7 posting some time ago. Hey everyone, I just want to let you know why I deactivated my account. Number one, this was the plan all along, even before we started the World Cup trip. Number two, too many people seem to have a problem with us having a genuinely good time here in the country. And this is ruining the fun a bit for us because we really just wanted to document our road trip and never expected that people would have a problem with it. Who are these losers that are having a problem with it? Are they Trumpsters? Are they conservatives? Are they Christians? Are they Democrats? Are they leftists? Who is it that has a problem with Freddie LA7? Man, I'd love to have him on the show. Bring him to Mississippi and show him what a good crawfish boil is all about. People are digging into my 22,000 posts to find a handful of, in their opinion, controversial posts and post them without zero context to make me look like a bad person. And that is what the evil left does. They take things out of context. They spin it. They won't confront you unless they're in a mob. They won't debate you unless it's a 6-on-1 debate, which is still fine with me. They sit there and they make it look like having fun is somehow a bad thing. It's a shame. But Freddie, your work has already been done because the world got to see your tweets, and now they get to see why you took it down. And those that are on the left, that are for censorship, that are for limiting what you can say in public, we all see it. We all know it. He has additional comment here. Also, I've seen that some people are upset that it's not our first time in the United States, which is surprising to me because even I replied to someone in the beginning saying that this trip that I have been here before. I can understand that it seemed like that for many because of our reactions to the stuff we saw, which is because we never actually been to any of the places we visited. See, this is what Freddie did. Everybody's like, "Oh, you've been to America, so your reactions aren't real. Your actions aren't genuine." But if you go back in the beginning of this article, Freddie LA7 took the path less traveled. He went off-roading. It, for us, was all our first time in the South. Yep, and everybody knows what kind of reputation the South has because of some activists, some justice warriors, the mainstream media. It was for us all of our first time in the South. I've only been to the main tourist places like New York City, hellhole, LA, hellhole, Las Vegas, Sin City, hellhole. So we got a German tourist who comes to see the real America that you and I go to work in every day, go to church on the weekends, celebrate sports with our kids. Some of us even like LSU football. Don't hold that against me. But they finally get to see the real America, and what happens? He gets bullied into submission. He gets bullied off of X. And it's a shame. It's a downright shame. I think that maybe some of us here in America on this Independence Day weekend ought to recommit ourselves to pointing out all the good stuff that's happening here. And sure, we can work on the stuff that needs help. But this country has gotten too far down the road to succumb to some online digital bullies. We've come too far. That's my opinion. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Hey, we got about a minute left before we get back from the break. Oh, hold on, brother.
Yes, because I listened to them.
Wait,
And
go ahead.
and anyway, so she's upset. There's a data center being built next to one of the biggest zoos in Nashville, and she was going to talk about it on the radio. So I know you're not talking about that, but I feel like I'd be letting her down if I didn't. So do you mind if I call you back during the program and talk about it?
Yeah, call me back at the top of the next hour.
Sounds good.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show on 1039 WYAB. 601 879 0002 is the phone line if you want to talk today. Unknown texter said, Andy, you always talked about whether the founding father was a Christian or not. What about Caesar? Well, I had to go to Grok to ask because I didn't do that research, but good on the listeners for holding me accountable. And this is what Grok's saying. So I'm reading this word for word, but they're pulling this information from the National Park Service.gov and Wikipedia. Yes, Caesar Rodney was a Christian, specifically a member of the Anglican Christian Church, which became the Episcopal Church in America after the Revolution. His mother, Elizabeth, was the daughter of Reverend Thomas Crawford, an Anglican preacher, and the first missionary sent to Dover, Delaware. So, got the evangelism spirit in there. Missionary, love it. And it goes on and on for another 3 paragraphs. And that's what I want to get to. If you think about the majority of our founding fathers, not all of them, but the majority of them were devout practicing Christians. Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson were more of what they would call a deist. But that's not what if you go listen to the mainstream media, if you go to your college campuses, if you go to your universities, that's not what they teach. And I do try to listen to a little bit of what Clay says in the morning. I try to listen to a little bit of what Chip says, a little bit of what Lindsay says. Definitely try to tune into Kim. And yep, I even listened to Mike Madison. And I heard him take a couple shots at Rush today. But Rush was deeply held in faith. No, he wasn't a preacher. He wasn't a teacher per se of the word, but he was a teacher. He wasn't necessarily an evangelist, but he was an evangelist. And for all of Rush's faults, which there are many, just like I have many faults, just like you have many faults, it had that moral compass. And it just seems like the left loves trashing people with a moral compass because their moral compass never points true north. They're always sitting there trying to orientate their compass to whatever makes them feel good at that moment. Have you noticed that? You know who else had a moral compass? Brother Charlie Kirk. And look what the left did to him. Look what the militant left tried to do to our president. At least 3 times, some say 4. And look at what they did to our national monument, the reflecting pool. The mainstream media dutifully reported how the algae bloom happened. They didn't talk about how someone dumped a bunch of fertilizer into the pool, which caused the algae bloom. They didn't talk about the 6 people they arrested with knives cutting away at the rubber sealant, which would have lasted for at least 50 years. There's just something about being positive in life or being miserable. And for this, yes, I will put myself use myself as an example. I have every right to be miserable. Just a year ago, I was running, working on trains, farming, and now I struggle to walk up the stairs. I could be miserable, hateful, lashing out at people. I don't choose that. I choose joy. Man, how great do I have it that I live in a country that has air conditioning and free refills at gas stations? How great is it that I have a beautiful wife and kids? I have a farm. I have sheep that are reproducing faster than I can sell them half the time. I've got family that loves me. I get to sit in the WYAB studio 5 days a week and talk about things that I feel are important to me and to you and to Mississippi, our culture. Sure, I could sit there whine and complain about how my legs don't work anymore, how my left arm doesn't work anymore. We could all sit there and have pity party. And I know some of you've got it way worse than me. And I'm not trying to make light of anybody's situations, but what makes people who are looking at it the bright side look at Caesar Rodney? face cancer. Had to hide it with a silk sheet over his face, a silk cloth over his face. Do you think he sat there and, "Oh, poor me, poor me"? Do I sit there and get on X and go, "Oh, poor me, poor me"? The libs do. The feminazis do. I just got ghosted from another job interview. I wonder why. As you get in a fight with the tackle box at Bass Pro, gauged out earrings. You're judging me on my appearance. No, you're just not interviewing the way that we need you to interview to represent our company and what we think is right. So you should go start your company. Dare I say Seattle? I hear they got a lot of office space available. Go over there where they punish hard work, creativity. Go to New York and be like those crazy Russians who scaled the Empire State Building yesterday. And I was talking to Matt, our station manager and owner here, and not only was it incredibly stupid what those 2 Russians did, and they are Russian. I got the story somewhere in the stack of stuff. But that AM tower was radiating and ionizing, which means they got, like, a ton of X-ray and radiation, subjected to a ton of radiation. So, dude's gonna be firing blanks, and girl, better check out and make sure that you don't have cancer. I mean, take it to the Russians to somehow circumvent security around one of America's tallest national icons, landmarks, and sitting there one-handed hanging off the Empire State Building. Full credit for proposing to her at the top of the world. But I saw the one picture of him, I clicked on it, and I saw how far of a long way down, and I was firmly ensconced in this chair right here looking at that going, I didn't want none of that mess. Nope. Andrew Gosser and Heights do not mix. I wonder what would happen to them if they would have tried to do that in East Germany back in the day, or the Soviet Union, or Cuba, or Venezuela. Well, you couldn't do it in Venezuela because that was such a terrible place. They didn't have buildings that high. They don't have buildings that high in Germany, East Germany back in the day. They don't have buildings that high in Russia. They still don't. They do in China. Go try to pull some of that off in China and see what President Xi Jinping does to you. Or Abu Dhabi, the Khalif Tower. Go see what happens to you when you go try to pull some craziness like that. I'm just tired of people who are sitting there always dwelling on this negative stuff. And I know that sometimes you can say, Andrew, you're a hypocrite. You sure got down on the Supreme Court yesterday. Yeah, I did. But I don't dwell there every day. Bad moments, not bad days. Pastor Franco, 2020. That was a great sermon. And that's why I'm sitting here and I'm so up for 4th of July. It's going to be a great weekend. We're going to have a good time. I'm going to do some fishing, I think. It might be too hot to go fishing, actually. Fish might not be biting. But we'll do something fun. And we're going to celebrate America 250. When we get back, we got to talk about the World Cup a little bit more, and then we'll head on out to the next hour. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Be right back. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 1039 WYAB. All sorts of good stuff kicking off today. We have all sorts of things to celebrate. We got the 4th of July coming up. I know that my kids up north, they're going to have an enormous barbecue. And I'm just curious what everybody else is going to do. It's so hot down here. People going to go outside and barbecue. We're going to rush and enjoy our first world amenities, that is air conditioning. I did notice that got a couple of texts over the day yesterday talking about Valor Atomics, and a couple of friends of mine, one who's an electrical engineer, was actually impressed with it. Actually, went in and did a deep dive on it. I hope to have him talk about it because right now in Europe they are sweltering. You've got the police going door to door telling people to shut off their air conditioners, open up their doors, and turn on fans. They have more deaths from heat-related problems than they do guns. I know that we have the exact opposite here in the United States of America, but we here in America are a first world country. You over in Europe, you like to think you're first world, but you're really not doing so well. And we don't need to sit there and rub their noses in it. But that's why people like Freddie LA7 are so important, to go ahead and get that message out there. And we don't always have that ability. More good news. I'm just going to briefly talk about this. This is coming from Magnolia Tribune. Our man Russ Latino. Expansion of Lee County Auto Parts plant will invest $53 million, create 28 new jobs. Expansions like this strengthen our position as a top state for automotive manufacturing, says Governor Tate Reeves. It's small, these businesses, it's not a small investment. People say, oh, it's only 28 jobs. There's over 28 manufacturing jobs, great jobs. And it just goes to show you that the Mississippi, for all the bad things they want to say about Mississippi, we're actually doing better and better every day. And we need more entrepreneurial investment into Mississippi. We need more agriculture in Mississippi. And the good news is out there, but it gets buried under things like what's happening in Jackson. I mean, I just went to WLBT, and there were just more people got shot overnight. You know, and I just I let the other talk show hosts talk about that because that is in their wheelhouse. That's not necessarily my wheelhouse. But here in Mississippi, we've got manufacturers coming into the state, starting new businesses, manufacturers who are already here expanding their business. Isn't that what we want? Set that positive example. And Mississippi is one of the top places to do business in America right now. The barrier to entry is low. The cost of land is low. We still do have an income tax, which I wish we would get rid of, but that's neither here nor there. And we've got people who genuinely want to go to work. Genuinely want to go to work. Look, I talked about this yesterday as we get ready to go to the top of the hour break and get indoctrinated with more BS from ABC News. But I'm looking for somebody who wants to have a debate on data centers, who's on the pro data center side. And I know Zach Service has done a lot more information than many of us have, but I'm not sure what side of the aisle he's on. I'll have to go reach out to him. But if you are pro data center, I'd love to have a chat with you offline at first if you feel more comfortable that way. But there are people out there who are genuinely looking for the pros of data centers. I know there's a lot of negative data out there too, but we got to work through this together. And I don't want it to get into a shouting, screaming match. That doesn't work for anybody. You have been listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be back in about 7.5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on the Andrew Gosser Show on 1039 WYAB, where we are streaming on Rumble, where we are streaming on X, where we are streaming on YouTube. Hey, no one cares about Facebook. And we are streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal, like, share, and subscribe. Help us grow the station. Help us grow the channel. We would appreciate that. You can follow me on X. It's just at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. Phone number is 601-879-0002. Text line is 601-879-5060. Text in the chat is also great. Appreciate that. Look, no matter what's going on, the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. For you were called to freedom, brothers. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but to love, serve one another. We got a phone call. Let's take it. Let's see what it is.
After tone.
Well, maybe not. Leave a message after the tone. That's how it goes at this time. I'm going to continue to kind of track this. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. And I'm just going to track what the Senate leader, John Thune's posting about on X. I'm going to see what Roger Wicker's texting on. And we're going to see what Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith is. We're going to try this phone call one more time. Go ahead. You're on the air.
After tone.
Yeah.
Anyway, y'all probably wouldn't know that I listen to a lot of talk radio, but I do. And so my kids ride around with me all the time, and they're forced to listen to a whole lot of talk radio. So they're up to date on a lot of things that I consider important. One of the things is AI data centers, and I'm not for them. And so, in the listing of things that happen with them, with all the noise pollution that comes off of them, the power usage, the water consumption, the water contamination, and all that. My oldest daughter sent me a link this morning, and she was really concerned that there is in Nashville a proposed data center that's going in right next to a very, very large zoo that has a whole lot of exotic animals that there aren't a whole lot of left on the planet. And she was concerned with it, and so I started reading into it, and I was thinking about it. If the ambient noise is driving people crazy and bringing down the value of homes all around these data centers, animals can hear so much better than we can.
Yep.
How is that going to affect these animals? I mean, would it not drive them absolutely crazy? And could it not impact, like, seriously, now we're talking about now I'm coming at you from a Democrat side of saying, what about the frogs? What about the lizards? And you know, I find it weird that I'm coming to you from an animal rights perspective saying that we shouldn't be putting these data centers right next to zoos.
Rick, I'm just telling you now, you're going to have to go fill out your application form for the people for the ethical treatment of animals. We're going to have to go join PETA.
I guess so. I mean, my entire life has been a joke. People eating tasty animals. And now I'm not in my 40s going, these animals don't deserve that.
Nope. And what really bothers me, because we do our research, we just don't sit there and come off the cuff on this stuff. But when you do your research on this, I'm even more convinced just in the last 24 hours after getting an update from SpaceX and how they're planning to put all their data centers in space within the next 5 years. Everything that we build on the ground is going to be obsolete. It's just, it makes no sense to me. Is it going to, the only thing that gives me any sort of reasoning why we're putting in these data centers is to keep up with China in the short term, but in the long term is what's going to be the reclamation plan for all of these data centers that we're building that are going to be
part of the reason why they're putting them in is like PlayStation announced the other day that they're no longer going to be making the CDs for your console. You'll have to rent the game monthly, and they can erase it from your console at any point, as in the terms of agreement. The only thing that makes sense to me is everything. You know, only your newer cars. If you don't pay your bill in time, and your air conditioner turns off, you know, it's going to be. The only thing that makes sense to me is you're not going to own anything, and you're going to rent everything,
and you're going to be happy.
Well, that's what they say.
Well,
I'm not going to be happy with it, but
you
that's
know,
what they say.
I've got two stories that you brought up just from us talking. The first story is this is coming out of Britain. Police are going around, not only going into people's houses, but people are going into their cars and turning on their air conditioning to stay cool. And they're getting ticketed for sitting in their car and that they're paid for running the air conditioning. They're paying for the gas. Well, actually, the American taxpayer is paying for their gas to be low, but that's neither here nor there. And it's just infuriating to me that, we've got all these real world problems and you've got the nanny state over there trying to tell us how to live our lives, and they're flat out miserable. Number two, I don't know if you saw this, but Xbox is going bankrupt, ladies and gentlemen. Got this in the stack of stuff that they can't keep up. Their new consoles aren't selling, and they're actually crashing out. So, Rick, you might be onto something where video games are going away.
Well, it's not going to be the video games. It's going to be video games. It's going to be your movies. It's going to be your songs. I mean, songs have been there since iTunes came out.
Yep.
So music's already been there. It's going to be everything. If you can think about it, if it can be rented, and y'all really got to put your mind to this one. There's a lot of things that can be rented. You rent your car, you rent your house. You're going to wind up renting your air conditioner. You're going to wind up renting your washing machine. You're going to wind up renting all this stuff. There's another story that came out. This guy, I forget where he was, but anyway, his Wi-Fi kept getting turned off because he was using too much stuff. He was a little tech savvy. He looked into it. His washing machine was sending something like 20 megabytes of data a month somewhere. Don't even know where, but his washing machine.
Oh, those are the smart devices. Like there's people who have those iPads installed on the front of their fridges. And again, this is not kabuki theater, ladies and gentlemen. Get on your smartphone device that you got right now and go look it up. These smart devices, whether that be your washing machine, your dryer, your television, your refrigerator, your oven, your range, your car, they're all linking into Wi-Fi and sending data. Like when you go to get insurance now, they know how you drive. They know how fast you drive, where you drive. They've plotted all your routes. You've made like a military analyst job super easy if they really want to track you between your if you've got a newer car, then it's doing it that way, but also your cell phone, and that's due to the NDAA.
I guess my point is the AI does not need the data centers. So what are the data centers for? And the only thing that makes sense to me is if you think about everything that you use daily that is a smart device, they're just going to upload all that information somewhere.
No, well, AI does need the data centers right now to keep up with, for instance,
not the amount that we're building 5,500.
Yeah.
Where are all the ones over in Europe? Where are all the ones over in, and even China only built 500.
Well, but they're not having the freedom to access the AI like Americans are. Americans are asking AI, how do I learn to crochet? And AI is giving a whole tutorial on how to do that. You can sit there and ask AI to write you, like I did the other day on the show. I asked AI to write me a 125-page paper at the master's level on air battle management and employment. And it took it a minute, but it did it. And it's getting millions and millions of requests every minute. And we're consuming more and more. That's why the data usage is going up. That's why the power usage is going up. And that's why they're doing it. And that doesn't even include the stuff that they don't allow you to research. They've actually
that's not 1 + 1 = 2 though. I mean, you got to be honest. How many people live in America? 330 million.
Yep.
How many people live in China?
1.4 billion, something like that.
Okay, so 1.4 billion only needs 500 data centers, and we need 5,500.
Do you honestly think that China's not using our data centers for their benefit?
I think that
they're hacked into it.
Data centers.
They're not only that, but then you look at India with another 1.8 billion people. Everybody's using our data centers. Everybody uses America. Everybody likes to. I mean, that's like the whole theme of the show today is how great America is, that we can go do all this stuff, and the rest of the world gets to benefit from our hard work. And yet they'll sit there and trash us every second that they get. And it's infuriating to me.
Oh, 100% is infuriating. But what I'm trying to say, I guess, get back to the original point, is we have so much land that can't be used for anything. Why would you have to go right next door to a zoo?
Dude,
It's almost like they're spitting in your face.
that'd be a great question. Well, honestly, Rick, the people already know what I'm going to say to this. This is why it's important for you to have a good relationship with your local state rep and state senator, uh, your mayor, your alderman, to go sit there and have these real discussions. I think that's why, dare I say the name, the Conservative Coalition of Mississippi, Mary Jo Perry, are trying to put together this forum on data centers, and they're trying to find the positive stuff for it. But we can't find anybody who's pro data center. And
I can tell you a couple of people who are pro data center. It comes right off the top of my head. It's the city councils that are getting paid to not listen to the thousands of constituents that are packed inside their offices saying we don't want them, and then in their face voting approval. They are pro data center. Get a city council member on there.
But they won't. But that's the problem, Rick. Is none of them that have been reached out to will actually go get in front of an audience.
Well, it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing that I said. I know they're not gonna talk about it because they won't talk about it in front of their constituents. They're definitely not going to talk about it on air. It's just I don't know what the answer is, but I know what the problem is, and it's just there's just too many of them using up too many resources, and we don't have the power structure, we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the water, and we don't have a solution other than what seems like SpaceX has a solution to it. But
well, it's really,
I don't know. It's just frustrating.
What's really frustrating to me is that I always say this. I can see both sides of the problem. Now, I'm going to fall down on one side, but I see both sides of the problem, and there are problems and mathematical formulas. Scientists are using AI, and they're using up more and more of this brain bite stuff, but they're not taking into account the things you say, like the water, like the energy. That's why I get so frustrated when, the state of Mississippi will put in a bunch of new data centers. Hey, that's great, but you won't bring in Valor Atomics that just had a 250 kilowatt nuclear reactor the size of a semi-trailer go critical and working absolutely fine. And then, we don't want that. We don't want to glow in the dark. And
you don't have to glow in the dark. If you look into the Leonard, it's low energy nuclear fission.
Exactly.
It's not even radioactive. You can power, you could literally have one of these power stations and power a city, and
you could drop
you're not affecting anything.
You could drop one in Jackson and completely change the electric bill in the greater Hinds County area with just one of these.
It's almost like they don't want us to have things. It's almost like they want the inflation high, like they want the gas prices high, it's almost like it's a plan. I think if I was doing this plan, I would call it something like 2030, maybe Agenda 2030. Maybe I would call it something like that.
Yeah, that could be Agenda 2030. Where have we heard that? I remember, but here's the crazy thing: being back in 2011, I can remember Agenda 2020, and now it's Agenda 2030.
Look how that worked out.
Yeah, not too good, not too good, brother. I'll give you the last word, my friend.
Man, I just pray and I hope that everybody has a great 4th, and just try to stay educated. Listen to somebody outside your camp. You don't have to agree with them. Just listen to somebody outside your camp that challenges your views, and it'll fortify your thoughts.
Yep. Iron sharpens iron, my friend. Iron sharpens iron. Look, if I don't talk to you before then, have a happy 4th, and I'll see you Tuesday.
Yes, sir. See you.
That was Brother Rick, everybody. This is the Andrew Gosser Show. We're going to take our next break. Stay right there. We'll be right back. Hey, what's up? We're on a break.
Yeah. Aren't y'all live?
Nope, we're on a commercial break.
So you live on the air, right?
Yeah, but we're on a commercial break right now. We're not on the air.
Yeah, I understand that. And that you and the guys just were talking about the data centers, right?
Yep.
And I think I talked to you about that in the past, maybe about a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Hey, can we just wait till we get on the air so the people can hear us talk about it?
No. I really don't want to talk on the air. I just want to talk to you. But what I'm saying is, and it was a guy, you was absent. What that guy name that filled in for you, the last guy?
Zach Service.
No, the guy before then. What's his name?
Blake Bartlam?
He filled in for you when you was absent.
Yeah, that's Blake.
No, not Blake. It's another guy. I think he used to be an FBI agent or something.
Chris Hinkle.
Right. Either I talked to him or you, and I brought up AI in the data center, and he was like, AI is fake. Either that was you said that AI was fake, like it wasn't reliable.
Oh, I don't trust AI. AI will. There's algorithms out there that'll make it think that it agrees with you, but it will try to lead you down a path. Brother, I'm coming out of the commercial break, so I got to go. I'm not trying to be rude.
Can I talk on the air?
Yeah. Just wait a sec.
Okay.
Give us about 15 seconds here, okay? I'll bring you in.
All right.
Can I get a name for you?
Yeah, this is Thomas.
Okay. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Got Brother Thomas on the phone. Brother Thomas, you there?
Yeah. I enjoyed the conversation you and that guy had. Very interesting, very informative. And I think, like I said, I tried to talk to you or another guy that was hosting your show about AI, and you guys were against it. But today, it seemed like, what I want to ask you, are you for the data centers or are you against them?
I'm against it, but I can see why people are for it. I'm against it because I know that within 5 years, we're going to have a fleet of data centers orbiting the Earth that are not using any natural resources here on Earth, water and energy. But I see why they want to build the data centers now is because they're trying to keep up with the threat that they view, which is China and Russia. And I think that's why they're trying to put all these data centers in. That's my opinion.
Right. Then my third, I got 2 or 3 things. Like I saw maybe about 2 or 3 months ago on national news where Donald Trump was pushing the data centers.
Yep, you're exact.
To be built.
Yep, and that would be something that I disagree with him on. But again, there's a military component to that, which I think there's other ways we could do that. Why couldn't we build all these data centers on a island out somewhere in the middle of the ocean, put a nuclear reactor out there to just power it all and be done with it? But instead, we're putting them in our residential areas. We're putting them near population centers. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the high voltage wires near schools, but we had a cancer cluster outbreak at one of our schools in Illinois because they built the school right underneath the high power wires. And if we're having the same types of problems with these data centers, why are we not learning from the history of our past? Why are we repeating the same mistakes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think yesterday you was talking about energy and stuff like that. I started to call in and ask you yesterday.
Oh, we can talk about that. Yeah, but it's called.
Yeah, that's a good conversation.
Yep.
It was something you were saying yesterday. I forgot what it was. That prompted me to want to call in and ask you about the data centers. Then, like, and the data center do directly affect AI.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. The more people that log into, whether it be Grok, Chat GPT, Claude, DeepSeek, and there's thousands of bots out there, but they all basically share the data centers. Whether the data center is built by Google, whether that data center is built by XAI or one of the other data center companies, they all sit there and use that processing. And you've got people like you and I out there. You might be looking. I'm just going to say you've got an interest in cars, and you want to learn about a carburetor on a '68 Chevy. And you go ask AI, it's going to find you that. But you also have 6 and 7-year-olds wanting to learn about the history of the Teletubbies, and it's using AI for that. And so, as the demand,
I think a guy had said something about I used Chat GPT one time, and the guy, I don't know, if it was you or the other guy said, "Well, you can't use that because it's not giving you accurate information." And I was like, "How is it not giving you accurate information? You just said that you used it too recently.
Oh, absolutely.
Just told the guy
I can
used to do something like."
Yeah, I'll explain that to you. So you go into I use Grok primarily. My family also has Chat GPT. I really don't like it, but you go and you look at the sources of it, right? So for me, like when I used Chat GPT today to find out about Caesar, the founding father, I actually went and clicked on the sources. That's what Grok does. It's like it says, I pulled sources from Wikipedia. I pulled sources from the Daughters of the Revolution. I pulled sources from here and there and everywhere. And I go and I fact check that. What people are doing is they're finding all sorts of egregious errors in our history. And that's why they call it AI learning, training the new AI agents, because they sit there. I mean, they try to one chatbot. I got the story here somewhere, and now you're going to make me go look for it. But they said 2 + 2 does not equal 4, and I think you and I can both agree that 2 + 2 equals 4. But this AI bot tried to do that, and then there's been situations where AI bots have started committing all sorts of crazy crimes. I'm not sure if you listened to the story I had. This was probably 3 weeks ago, where they put 25 AI chatbots into a world, and some of them turned into serial killers. One committed suicide. I mean, it's AI is crazy stuff, and you should be very distrustful of it, or do your best Ronald Reagan, trust it but verify it. Which is why I ask you people to trust but verify me.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
You have a good day.
You have a great day, Mr. Thomas. Take care. I appreciate calls like that. And again, you go look something up in AI, you might find out that it's reliable and it's giving you good data, and you go with it. But man, just don't blindly. It's like blindly trusting Wikipedia. AI is the new Wikipedia, unfortunately. And if you look at how Elon Musk has said, they're coming out with their own type of encyclopedia, Wikipedia type of database, because we all know, and this isn't me being hateful or spiteful or anything like that, but everybody knows that Wikipedia is very left-leaning, much like Reddit. And if you want centrist views, or if you want views from the right, you're not going to find that on Wikipedia. But you brought up the Valor Atomics, and I just pulled up their YouTube page right here while Thomas and I were talking, and they have a video out from 5 days ago called Critically, and it's where they take the nuclear reactor critical, and I just encourage everybody. It's not that long of a video; it's 3 minutes long. I encourage everybody to go through and look at what that is, because we could bring that here to Mississippi. And I know everybody here in the sound of my voice, we all love energy. They're just a great company to deal with, and we all love them. But competition is great. And Valor Atomics can go ahead and provide some of that competition in a very reasonable manner that's green, that is going to protect our environment, that's going to lower our electricity costs, that's going to provide high-paying skilled jobs. and we just need to go ahead and start looking at these new technologies and see how we're going to innovate it. And I understand. Look, Thomas, these companies that are coming in to build these data centers in Mississippi, you're talking tens of billions of dollars, money that Mississippi would never get. And the politicians are looking at the cost benefit analysis saying, you know what, this can fund the state for the next 15 years if I go ahead and accept these 15 data centers. And they're going to build construction jobs and infrastructure jobs. But if you look at these data centers, there's really not a lot of jobs on the inside once it's built and put together. Sure, chips go bad and they have computers go around there and flip out the switches, but that might even become all robotic in the future. It wouldn't surprise me, which makes these space-based data centers even more incredibly valuable, in my opinion. Is that they go up there, they do their job, and when they're done, they de-orbit, they burn up in the atmosphere. There's no hazardous chemicals. They just burn up, and circle of life. It's how Elon plans it to do, how he plans to do data centers. I don't know. Here's the thing that I do know too. People who are betting against Elon, very foolish. I've watched too many congressmen and too many senators go against him and saying he couldn't do it. And right now, as sure as you're listening to my voice over WYAB, if Elon wasn't successful with SpaceX, we would be 10 years behind on our cell phone usage, data usage, communication usage. Starlink wouldn't be available. Like, it irritates me to no end to hear how people poo-poo Starlink, but yet whenever there's something really serious going on, what's the first thing people want? Where's their Starlink? Go ask the people in Florida and North Carolina for that hurricane who came through where they couldn't communicate with their people. Let's try to take another phone call here real quick before the break. We got about a minute and a half. What's up?
How do you implement the mark of the beast? With artificial intelligence.
Wait, I misheard you in the beginning. What was that, sir?
I said, how do you implement the mark of the beast?
Oh, how
artificial intelligence.
Dude, I think the mark of the beast could be your cell phone. I look at my daughter. She about melted down when she had to go to work without her cell phone because she lost it. I love her dearly, but you can't bank with it. I think artificial intelligence could be. Did you ever read the book of Daniel, chapter 9, by any chance?
Oh, yeah.
It talks about it right there, where man makes something that looks like a man, like a ex-robot, and then they tried to give it life through artificial intelligence. I think you could be really onto something there, man.
Well, I think so, too. Not only that, but we're funding it.
Oh, yeah.
We're paying for the electric companies to build the infrastructure to do this.
Oh,
not only that, but there are certain states where 1/3 of their whole water supply is going to artificial intelligence.
Did you see that community in Georgia that completely lost all their water pressure?
Yes.
That is frightening to me. And that's
so
go ahead.
Welcoming AI and see what happens. It ain't gonna be pretty. That's all I got to say. You have a good day.
Hey, I really appreciate.
Oh, one other thing.
Yep.
Quit calling it the 4th of July. It's Independence Day. The 4th of July is just another day, but Independence Day means something.
Dude, noted. I will call it Independence Day. And thanks for that correction. See, our listeners are awesome. They're out there thinking it is Independence Day. It is Independence Day. The caller is exactly right. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB, where we are celebrating Independence Day. Just happens to fall on July 4th. Today is actually July 2nd, the day that the Second Continental Congress actually got together to ratify the Declaration of Independence. But we celebrate Independence Day on the 4th of July. And if you think about it, that last caller really hit the nail on the head. July 4th is just another day. December 25th is just another day. But Christmas now, Easter now, Independence Day now. It's the little things like that that make me think. Rebel Ray saying Mr. Thomas was a good call. I agree. And it's the callers that really actually make me think a little bit more, expand my views on things. I'm 54, so I'm kind of ingrained in what I think, but I still like to think I'm wise enough to understand when my viewpoint needs to be moderated or changed. And I hope you'll feel the same way. Although sometimes they say that once we get to a certain age, we just don't want to learn anymore. We just want to do things the way we've always done it, which can be good in some instances and it can be poor in some instances. If you're following me on X, it's just at Andrew Gosser. I sent out a tweet to Isaiah, the owner of Valor Atomics, along with Mississippi GOP, Governor Reeves, Senator Wicker, Senator Hyde Smith, talking about how great Valor Atomics is. It'd be awesome to have Isaiah in the office talking nuclear energy in Mississippi. My goodness. Go ahead. Oh, hey, we're going to have to. Whoa, man. Well, please call back. Every once in a while, calls come in and things just go south. It's not WYB. It's not the radio station. It's just the phone setup that we get bad call. But if you call back in, we'll do that. But in the meantime, here we go. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is Willie.
Hey, Brother Willie.
Yes, I was just letting you know I'm still in the Chicago area with my wife, and God bless her, blessing her daily. And yesterday was our 54th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
And I just want to thank you for your program and WYAB for airing all of the different hosts. And I want to say to each and every one of your listeners and to you as well, I want to wish you all a very, very blessed Independence Day, okay? And I heard what the last caller had said, and he's absolutely right. It is Independence Day.
It is. It
Okay.
is. Brother Willie,
And
congratulations on 54 years to you and your beautiful bride, and 54 years of marital bliss. That's beautiful. That's so special. That's godly, brother.
right. Well, listen, I certainly thank you so very much as well. And may God continue to bless you all, okay?
Yep. Thank you, Brother Willie. We'll keep you in
All
our
right,
prayers.
yeah.
Bye-bye. It's always good to hear from Brother Willie, checking in from Chi-Town. Checking in from Chi-Town, my neck of the woods, where I spent more time there than my mother needs to know. And my mother, by the way, does listen to the show. She tunes in, and she gives me critiques. But what I wanted to get was, before Brother Willie called, I was going to talk about how we need to be able to build these relationships with our politicians, so that when we do have something come along the way, like Valor Atomics, that they can start out there and start looking into this. You know, Valor Atomics is only here because, and I know this is going to irritate some of my listeners, but I'm just being truthful with you all. And go do your research and get back to me. But when President Trump took office the second time, he completely cut the regulation at the Department of Energy for these nuclear startup companies to start their own nuclear reactors, with the goal of having 3 nuclear reactors, new private reactors, online by July 4th, Independence Day, 2026. And we've done that. It's not just Valor. I just am intrigued by Valor's story. But if you go there, you can check out their YouTube channel and do that. And the one thing that I wanted to do, but I really didn't get a chance to do it this show, was because we had great topics and great calls, but we didn't check in on Leader Thune and what he's talking about, because he is the leader of the Senate. They are on a 2-week vacation over this Independence Day. And 17 hours ago, Leader Thune said enjoyed catching up with Nate members of Vicar and Sioux Falls. He's taking the photo op. Stopped by the Thermo Bond in Brandon, South Dakota. Tour of their manufacturing facility. Great job, Leader Thune. Today marks 1 year since the Senate GOP passed the working family tax cuts. I'm proud of the Republican team. Yeah. Honored to have the Secretary of the Air Force in South Dakota. Brother, I'm looking at your timeline, and I'm not seeing anything about the Save America Act. I'm not seeing anything about birthright citizenship. You're talking about everything but. And this is why I'm not necessarily on people's bright sides, but when they do good stuff, I talk about it. And you know what? Whether you agree with me or not, no one can say that I don't call it as I see it, right down the middle. So Senator Roger Wicker's X timeline today. Peace through strength, been pinned for a while now, since May 29th, 2024. Peace through strength, got it. 18 hours ago, Roger Wicker said, this July 4th is not a celebration of our 250th anniversary or Independence Day. It is also the official launch of the Trump accounts. These childhood investment accounts are a powerful way to set up all of Mississippi children for financial success. Starting Saturday, parents can log into their Trump accounts. Well, Senator Roger Wicker, we need you to do something about birthright citizenship, because people who are born here can also get those Trump accounts. Yep. And that's not how this Trump account's supposed to work. It's supposed to be for Americans, not for people who just show up here on citizenship, tourism, birth tourism. Nope. And then he goes into more Trump accounts, about the Trump accounts, and how the Dell family was a big perpetrator of setting this up. Private investment. And he's really pushing hard on the Mississippi families to get their Trump account set up. So let's see what Cindy Hyde Smith is saying on X today. It's important to know what our state reps are doing. or our states, or U.S. senators, not state reps, excuse me. Proud to join Mayor Gibson and local leaders in Natchez today for celebrating the first landing of a new passenger air service at Natchez Adams County Airport. This was just 48 minutes ago. So a new airport, I guess, is opening up. Or the first landing of a new passenger service, going to increase tourism, going out to Houston, flying into Houston. 21 hours ago, Cindy Hyde-Smith thanking the U.S. Marshal Service. Yep, that we appreciate our law enforcement, our U.S. Marshals. They do a great job. Congratulations to Mississippi's Department of Transportation for awarding $51.1 million in fiscal year 26 to build grants for major transportation projects in Rankin, Hancock, and Harrison counties. These are all of our three major U.S. senators who impact our lives. Leader Thune, obviously, he's the leader of the Senate. And our two U.S. senators, Senator Roger Wicker and Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. No Save America Act. You see the problem here. Nothing on birthright citizenship. You see the problem here. You could go out and reach out to them and let them know. And granted, you might only be that half a second on their radar scope, but that might be the one that pushes them over the edge. We need to get the Save America Act through. We need to end birthright citizenship. We need to start taking care of Americans. And those who want to use America to benefit from us and then go ahead and trash our country, well, get the heck out of here. We don't want you here. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9. We're going to take our last commercial break of the day. We'll be right back.
A German fan is brought to tears not because Germany was eliminated from the World Cup, but because of how he was
Oh yeah, we're wrapping up the week a little bit early. Will not be here tomorrow. It'll be a taped show. I don't want to mislead anybody with that. Guys, I just want to say thank you for the wonderful calls today. I want to say thank you to my listening audience. And I want to challenge everybody to do something over this Independence Day weekend, July 4th, our Independence Day. I challenge you to read the Declaration of Independence. There are a lot of us who say we're constitutional scholars and we know what the Constitution says. We know what the Declaration of Independence says. But when's the last time you've actually sat down and read it? And I've got to be truthful. I don't think I've actually sat down and read the Declaration probably 10, 12 years. It's been a hot minute since Paul Sawaka and I did it. Paul, if you're listening out there, blessings to you in Alabama. But this Independence Day, let's celebrate it. America is beautiful. America is the land of the free, home of the brave. That's us. And I want to make sure that we all thank our Creator, too, where our inalienable rights come from, where natural law comes from. Yep. Couple of quick hit stories. U.S. 30-year mortgage rate falls to 6.43%. It's lowest in 7 weeks. Why the algorithm thought I needed to know that, I don't know. But the caller who came in and was talking about AI being the mark of the beast, this headline just dropped. Scientists build synthetic cell from scratch that can feed, grow, and replicate. That's pretty scary to me. I'll even click on that one. Then they're talking about the Democrat socialist who unseated the 15-term Democrat in Denver. We talked about that. University of Minnesota Twin Cities synthetic biologist Kate Adamala and her team constructed a spud cell, a synthetic droplet capable of feeding, growing, and replicating like a natural cell. Made up of 200 molecules and 36 genes, spud cell relies on 90,000 base pair of genome up to replicate itself every 12 hours in at least 30 degrees Celsius, far slower than the natural bacteria. Wow, so you can already see what they're starting to say here. They're going to start messing with aging and how people are going to be able to live longer lives if they inject this stuff into our body. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to be wise. We need to get smart on this and realize just because we have the capability to do something doesn't mean that we should. We're on that rush for that dopamine hit, that high, that level that just is incredible, the state of euphoria. People are texting in here. They're saying people need to be pretty much heavily regulated. And we're America. We don't like to regulate it. But if we had the values that our founding fathers had, I genuinely believe that we wouldn't have the problems that we do have. Look, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful and safe Independence Day. If you got the fireworks, be safe, be safe. Don't be like my buddy back in high school who blew his hand off. That was a bad day for him. Bad day for all of us. Wasn't kind. But have a happy and blessed Memorial Day, Independence Day. Go tell your spouse that you love them. Do something special with your spouse this weekend. You know I'm gonna. Sweepy and I, we're going out. Toots McCracken is on patrol. Take care, everybody. Until then, be blessed. Yes, and amen. Amen, ladies and gentlemen.